Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to GG Leagues at the start of our winter 2022 season here for League of Legends. My name is Cosmic, coming to you live from the Summoner's Rift, as you see me here on my little bench. Joining me today is Graham. How are you doing today, Graham?
I'm doing great. I'm with my little egg buddy over here. Yeah, it's gonna be a very fun one. We have USF Gold versus Illini Blue, so it'll be an interesting matchup overall.
Yes, it should be a very interesting matchup here in Division A. It's always exciting to see these Division A teams play. It's a very high level, very high
Mhm.
class, and so it's very awesome to see what happens there, more or less. But we're going to be diving into Pro Draft here in just a moment. But what are we expecting to see here, Graham? I know you are a USF Gold uh, member here as well. So what are you expecting to see from your team and maybe from the other team to counter off?
Yeah, so I am actually a student at USF, so this will be a bit of a cheating in terms of preparation. I know these guys, but in terms of banning against USF, Mastery has pretty much always been on the table. I say pretty much always. I don't think it ever has been going through. Dandelion Yi is a very proficient Mastery player, so I doubt that will be seeing the table. In the past, Auction has actually been a pretty big ban for people playing against USF. Not so much anymore, as Chen Chen has kind of shifted away from playing that champion, but he still does play it quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if that does see the table, but usually we see very obscure picks that aren't necessarily too meta coming from USF. Darius Jungle is probably the biggest one that I see a lot of, and we'll be jumping into Pro Draft, but other things, Nunu Mid is another one that Chen Chen does love to play quite a bit. And overall, it's a pretty interesting team to try and watch, as Fior will be meeting the ban table, very powerful split pusher, and with the introduction, I say introduction, with the rise of Hullbreaker split pushing, it becomes quite annoying to deal with, to say the least.
Oh, definitely. It's not something that just curses low level players. It's cursing top level players as well. We do see that Master Yi getting banned out. Looks like those 288 so games for Dandelion are not going to allow that Yi anywhere near there. Another top laner banned out here from USF Gold is going to be the Trinamir, another strong fighter in the top lane there, with Vex coming out from Illini Blue as well. Another very strong mid lane slash support as well. Just a lot of damage coming out there. More mages on the board as we're going to be looking for one last ban here from Illini Blue.
Yeah, Jinx
Ooh.
will be the pick up for the ban table. Of course, Jinx becoming one of the strongest, if not the strongest ADC. Of course, next to Zeri doesn't really compare, but Zeri did meet quite a bit of changes and quite a bit of nerfs in this following patch, so we'll see if she actually makes it through in this game. We don't see it picked up first from USF Gold. It'll instead be the Zillion takeaway from the Illinois support, so that's a very, very interesting one. I actually don't see a lot of the USF players on this champion that often, so I'm very curious to see who that's going to, because even in their match history, I don't think there's many Zillion games overall.
Yeah, no, that's very exciting to see Zillion come out on the board. We don't really see him too much in play to begin with, so especially there with his ulti, it's going to change up the match a lot more, and so we'll see a lot more targeting there. Nunu coming out for Illini Blue in the jungle. Nunu's been really strong recently and has been looked at beforehand. I'm pretty sure with this brand new patch, he has received a few nerfs on all levels. Ziggs coming out for the mid lane for Illini Blue, along with Darius getting up here. I know we were talking before the match here about
Right.
this Darius pick from USF. It seems to be kind of a flex pick here for Dandelion Yi.
Yeah, it's very true. It's not the traditional flex pick of, oh yeah, Wuxing and Dandelion are going to flex it. No, it's more along the lines of, actually, Dandelion's just going to play this Darius and they're going to flex around the roles. Graves is another part of this, so if this does get locked in, then that will be very interesting, because Wuxing is very much a Graves player, and I have seen them swap with Wuxing going Graves jungle instead of top lane if they like the Darius matchup more. So if that does get locked in, there's a lot of different things that they can play around with in the draft. So it's already a pretty very standard USF draft, all things considered. It's pretty standard. Camille will be the lock in here, and I wonder if we will see the Darius flex into it. I do believe that Darius has a better time into Camille than Graves, just because Camille tends to be very oppressive for these ranged top laners. She can gap close super easy and has quite a bit of burst as well as sustained damage on her own right. So it'll be interesting to see if that's what they go for, or if they just keep the Graves topside. Jin and Ryze will be meeting the ban table. Both of these champions have been quite problematic in pro play in recent years. Of course, Rise with his ultimate being one of the best roaming tools in the game. Vladimir is very much a Chen Chen ban. He loves that champion, and if that gets banned away, we will not see him on it in this game.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of a target there as well. Vladimir being taken out there. Locked to ban Illini boots, their last ban on the table. And Gwen getting hovered by USF Gold here as well. Not really wanting to see that Gwen get possibly flexed mid or be dropped into the top lane, just wanting it off the table. And Jenna, looks like Illini Blue is picking up the Senna here. Most likely going to their support, actually. Senna has been played quite a few times here by Mythic and has a pretty solid win rate overall for them. Looks like that's going to be going into the counter against Zillion. Senna is still pretty terrifying over the board, even though Riot has still been trying to patch her out here left and right. And looks like switcheroo pulled by USF. Looks like Leona is going to be looked at here for the support role, but instead Blitzcrank. Ooh, that's going to be pretty scary down in the bot lane.
Oh yeah, and Zania actually does love this Blitzcrank pick a lot. Paired with an Ezreal, it actually makes for a pretty stable ADC that allows for this Blitzcrank to just run around the map and cause absolute chaos everywhere they go. That does mean that this Zillion will be going mid lane. That will be picked up by Chen Chen, and it'll be pretty interesting to see how they pilot that one. But with Sylas being hovered, it's looking like it's going to be a Ziggs Senna bot lane if that does get locked in, and that's going to be quite obnoxious to try and actually sustain through. Of course, Ziggs, very notorious for his ability to poke champions out. And Sylas overall, pretty good. Very good mid laner overall. Being able to steal that Zillion ulti is one of the biggest reasons why they're picking it, because the other ultimates don't really seem too great. Darius, of course, his ultimate is good, but the main thing with his ultimate is that it depends heavily on Darius's passive being able to deal damage, so mainly taking it away for that Zillion. But of course, Sylas in his own right does do pretty well. He's very mobile and can sustain through these fights, so very interesting draft from Illini Blue and USF Gold. Both interesting and kind of hard to pilot in their own right, I believe.
Yeah, both have a lot of technicalities to there as well. I know USF Gold has quite the strong front line for them. A lot of damage coming out, and they're going to be able to push quite forward towards Illini Blue, but we do have a lot target-focused damage from Illini Blue as well. They have their own fighters and their own strength. I don't think Illini Blue would have too easy of a time in a 5v5 against USF Gold, but definitely picking off a few members, getting more power spikes for the Ziggs here to keep Split pushing up against this Graves will be a lot. It will definitely help a lot more try to keep Illini Blue up against USF Gold. Overall, I'm very excited to see these two members. I know seeing a Zillion mid harks back to the moments of giving us some Jensen and Bjergsen action there in the mid lane. So I'm very excited to see what's going to be happening there, as we're going to be jumping into the map here shortly. Any last thoughts here on these two drafts? Who do you think's really winning this one overall here, Graham?
In terms of winning, I think USF does have a bit easier time, just because, one, I see a lot of comfort picks here, and of course Illini does have their share of their comfort, with the Senna being one of them, the Ziggs, of course, being very big comforts for them. But it's definitely a very weird call, because they have so unique playstyles, and we'll actually just be jumping into the game here and looking at teams overall. Nothing too crazy in terms of summoner spells, in terms of rune pages. They all look pretty standard for what you would consider a normal League of Legends game.
Yeah, full 5-man stack up there, especially with help from the Blitzcrank. Definitely adds to a lot more threat there, but looks like they will instead get a few little ticks off there on to USF there, and they're just going to back off. No hooks today, no insane first grabs at all. So looking at runes across the board, looks pretty standard overall. We do have that grasp on top of Camille to keep up with, I was going to say with the Darius, but instead it does look like Graves will be instead, is going to be our top laner here today. So it looks like Zhuing is definitely feeling confident into that, or at least feeling somewhat confident into that Camille. We will definitely see a lot of ganks up there as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I did mention that they could have swapped the Darius with Dandelion going top lane, but they opted for it again. This trade, though, is absolutely massive in mid lane.
Yeah, level 1, some solid damage overall going between both members. They're both going to be popping their corrupting potions overall. That should be reasonably healed by the time they hit level 2. But I mean, early damage from Sylas, it looks like Chen Chen's going to have to watch out a lot from there. Very engage heavy, and it should be rather easy to dodge through those Qs as well from Zillion. Top lane's going pretty even as well, and Blitzcrank trying to go for a bit of a hook. It's going to just pull minion right back towards them, keep up that farm. And overall, things are staying reasonably passive, a lot of poking back and forth here.
Say that, but look at the jungle
Ooh.
actually. But the top lane trade is
Yeah.
going to be happening. But bottom blue side on this jungle over here, there's going to be a bit of a scuffle. Actually, they're going to continue to trade here.
Top lane's going some action, but here comes Illini getting caught off by 3 members. Ooh, a lot of damage stacking up here. We might see a kill level 2, but it's going to get away. The snowball will keep chase overall, though. Chencha cannot keep helping out. Snowball's looking around the corner. Yi is able to dodge that one, but Chomp's going to take that one, and First Blood's going to go over to Dandelion Yi for USF. More fights continuing. Mythic accidentally stepped up too far here. Ignite's going to take that one for Nick's. Going to be a trade even. Yi is trying to pop behind here, but you do have Nunu popping around with Sai as well. He's a flash over the wall, but Nick is looking in a bit of trouble, trying to get away. Just Chilling going to pick up another kill for himself as well. And Sandy is going to pick up another kill as well. It's going quite even back and forth. 2-2 on both sides, but it looks like it will just go over in favor here to you, to our Nunu here with 3-0.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting early game overall. Unfortunately do not have the gold layout working right now, so that gold will be stuck at 2.5k until that gets fixed, but there's going to be a gank here.
Ooh. Trying to go for the pull and flash, not going to land there overall. Sad B on the board. Looks like our Camille staying out there. Did not take flash, so is going to be looking pretty scary up there. So
yeah, we'll be scary indeed. The Darius apprehend was a bit too early on that. They tried to cancel the hook shot, but actually ended up just getting through it anyway. So we'll end up burning the Graves flash, which is quite an unfortunate one. Tried to catch up afterwards, but was not quite in range to get that final auto attack out, and that'll be kind of a disappointing gank for USF, all things considered. That was a bit missing the mark on a few things, mechanically speaking, but overall should end up being still fine for them.
Yeah, burn of a flash, not really getting much out of it. It's pretty worthwhile for Camille up there. That's definitely going to help out across the board. Meanwhile, kind of looking around here, a bit of a dive from Sai, forcing it back, but Blitzcrank's coming around the corner as well.
Level 2.
Yeah, level 2 doesn't have the speed up, but has a hook, going to land it with the knockup as well. Does look like Chenchen's trying to land at least another Q. Not going to get much. Good chunk of damage. Oh, all right, gank overall.
Yeah, we'll not end up getting much more than that, and it will have to sulk back bot lane, and we'll clear out some waves. Now, that being said, the Ezreal does get a level lead because of this Blitzcrank roaming so much, so he is level 4 over his counterpart, which is only level 3, so he will have that advantage, but you can't stay on level 2 forever. Unfortunately, that support strategy has been removed with the recent patch. You cannot just keep roaming around forever, but we'll see if he decides to keep up the pressure as what a Blitzcrank would want to do. There's going to be something happening here, though.
Oh yeah, Dandelion Yi looking bot lane here. He's going to take a lot of damage, going to get caught out there. Nick's going to pick up that kill to tie those kills back up 3-3. Meanwhile, top side, a lot of damage on losing here. Camille's going to back off, doing a nice chunk of damage. But overall, clean, good gank. Just chilling, getting caught out here between a rock and a hard place, or rather a Zillion and a Darius. Not exactly the best lineup overall. Sai diving in head first, taking quite a bit of damage, but they're going to trade the kill over for Just Chilling to go 4-0. Pretty strong Nunu there as first Drake is up. Does look like USF is currently trapped overall. Nick's popping over the wall to pick up a kill for himself. Meanwhile, support is going to be left alone. Nick's caught once again stuck there. Gonna fall quickly as well. Illini Blue's gonna pick up a lead of 2 kills, 6-4, and it looks like they're going to make it 3 lead up there with our Camille picking up another kill.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate there. The Ezreal actually got hit by the blast cone as the Nunu tried to escape, and that, of course, sealed his fate there. Will be a successful invade for Illini Blue, as this Nunu is now 4 kills ahead, and while that's great, you want to get those kills onto a carry at some point in the game, or else it's just going to be a really tanky Nunu, and you won't really have the damage to actually back that up. So we'll have to deal with that in the near future. Drake. As hello.
Yeah, Ocean Drake down on the board. So that's going to be popping right over there. We do not have our dragon counter work either. Looks like our software is having a bit of an issue, but you know, we'll still verbalize as much as we can for you guys. Meanwhile, a bit of a conflict top lane. Both members level 6. Looking pretty well over. Zillion, not level 6 here, going to get hit by the snowball from Just Chilling and immediately popped out there by Psy, picking up an extra kill in that mid lane to get a little bit of a lead. Meanwhile, bot side, Blitzcrank going to land a hook on top of Knee, but Nick is going to get forced back there by Ziggs. A good attempt, but overall, trade's going in favor here of Illini Blue.
Yeah, a lot of action happening in here. The Zig Satchel will prevent any follow-up, and of course, the Senna actually did burn the exhaust there, so that engage was more valuable than it looked, even though the health bars weren't necessarily in anyone's favor. The Summoner spell did get blown, so they'll take that every day of the week. As just looking at what needs to happen here, first of all, the Zillion needs to hit 6 as he just dinged it, got the ultimate. And this Darius needs to catch up a little bit to the Nunu. He is level 5 right now, and say that, but a lot of damage coming out mid lane.
Yeah, a lot of damage on top of Zillion here, trying to do some damage back to Silas. Not gonna find it. It's currently down by a level, and it is down by quite a bit of gold as well. Not too much of a farm difference overall, but I mean, it's still just enough for that level difference to really matter, especially for that Silas. Meanwhile, it does look like we have Nunu looking around for that Rift Herald up in the jungle. Is probably going to start taking that for himself. Well, topside's cleaning out pretty well overall. Just trying to keep these waves in between. And
yeah, it looks like it will be a Rift Herald attempt from Illini Blue here. Top lane is pushed in, so USF does not have access to that in order to.
Ooh, solid damage on the Ziggs there. Oh,
very
scary
good
moment
trade on the bot side here.
Yeah, here comes a snowball mid, though not gonna land. It's gonna hit some minions instead. Enderline he forcing Just Chilling off of that rift.
Just goes wide.
Yeah, just barely missing that ulti there over there, but does look like Nunu will be leaving overall with that rift as well. 400 bounty gold on top of their head. Meanwhile, topside, more duels happening. So Oozing is not having a very fun time against that Camille. It's kind of what I expected overall. Doesn't have much of a way of dodging those E's compared to Darius, who's going to have a lot easier time facing off against that Camille up top. Getting a few playings overall, but everything is slowly going in the way of Illini Blue. Up 2k in gold, as we do have our gold counters working with our default here. And overall, it does look like USF Gold's struggling a bit here. So as we're slowly starting to work our way into mid-game, as laning phase is not even over yet, what are we kind of looking here for, Graham? Who looks like we might be looking to get some more action on Nick here.
Very true. We want to play. They want to kind of play this around the Ezreal, as they are very strong at a very strong point in the game. Divine Sunder finished before 10 minutes. They are pretty solidly ahead of their lane opponent, and they want to kind of play around that damage spike with the things like the Blitzcrank, the Darius being able to roam as mid lane actually.
Ooh, Chen dropping the ulti. Psy also has the Zillion ulti as well. It's just kind of waiting around. Doesn't quite mind dying if it means they get a chance. Instead, going to get stunned up as well. Trying to look for Blitzcrank. He's going to get pulled right back in the tower. Going to take some solid damage. Zillion ulti dropping people low. And Zany is going to fall. Only one kill over there. It's a bit of a messy fight, but we got 4 members mid as they're really looking for... Ooh!
That damage.
Not looking for that Ezreal ulti, though, as they're going to back off after that huge chunk of damage. And it looks like things are going to mellow out here on the mid lane.
Yeah, Illini Blue really well played there. They saw how strong this Ezreal was, and they instead decided to just take their bot lane and roam up mid to try and get something away from that carry. And they're able to get, I believe, 1 successful kill. I don't think Chen actually died there. I could be wrong. No, he didn't die there. So yeah, only 1 kill, but being able to get something off the map rotation, as Nick gonna be struggling here.
Ooh, Nick is going to get stunned up there. He's going to force the flash. Still going to get caught off by Just Chilling overall. It's going to be trapped in between a rock and a hard space. Not going to survive that one. Just Chilling is going unstoppable. Meanwhile, top side, a lot more damage there as Dandelion Yi is going to show some support to his Graves. Getting an extra kill in the top lane and finally making that shove feel a bit more worth it. Rift Herald is going to be dropped into, I'm pretty sure, the mid lane here.
It'll be the bot lane, actually. They dropped that.
Bot lane, yeah. Looking for a bit of extra action in the mid lane. B's going to be falling quite low. Is going to get taken out here probably by that Zillion bomb.
Yeah.
Yep, just enough damage to shut down gold, but here comes Mythic looking for some blood. Another Drake going straight over to the side of Illini Blue, and we have Mountain Soul on the board.
Yeah, will be Mountain Soul. They did decide to just trade objectives top and bot, so of course the full turret plus the dragon is going to be the more worth exchange on that end. So Illini Blue winning out on that end, but USF just wanting to get anything back so that they can stay in this game. So they'll take the kill top lane plus looks like 2 plates there. So they'll take that exchange. Of course, they are still down in that exchange by quite a bit, but it is better than just kind of letting things happen as they are and slowly bleeding out. So we'll take that proactivity. The Hull Breaker will be finished on the Graves, everyone's favorite item in League of Legends currently. Everyone actually hates this item, but you know, it's a thought that counts.
It's gonna make that top lane a lot harder to deal with for the Camille. I mean, they might be winning overall, but now we just have a split push element there. Losing's not going to be really much in the way of combat. It's going to be diving head first, doing a good chunk of damage, actually chewing out
that, but this could be a
Graves
dive
overall. Ooh.
It will not go for that. Camille being quite tanky in her own right now that the shield has been stacked up. Smoke screen dropped, and she will actually go back in.
Forced to flash him a Ziggs ulti out of left field. We got 3 members roaming top here. Blitzcrank's around the corner. Meanwhile, bot side, Chen not faring too well. Bombs coming around is going to drop the ulti, and Sai is just going to kindly wait around the corner here. He's going to wait underneath tower. He's going to take that one overall. But meanwhile, Yi looking for a bit of a cleanup here. He's going to try taking down that Silas. Senna ulti is going to pop in as well. Meanwhile, Zing's going to get some help from Blitzcrank and taking down Camille on the top side, making that push a little less evident. And things are starting to mellow out a little bit more into USF Gold's favor, but I mean, Illini Blue still has 3k gold lead, has 2 Drakes in their back pocket, and first tower down, so they're really starting to get deconstructed here.
Yeah, they're quite behind so far, but looking at the sort of bright side of things, there are a bunch of bounties that they can collect, specifically on this Nunu. If they can manage to collect that, there will be quite a bit of gold added to their pockets. There's still plates, actually, never mind. I'm kind of trolling there, but 14-minute plates did just drop. There will be no objective bounties. That's not that far behind quite yet. So they will not have that to look forward to. But overall, they just kind of want to play this out in a way that allows them to get picks in sort of unconventional manners. They do not win the sort of grouping efforts that Illini Blue has been putting forward so far. So they want to try and get things towards the side lanes. Focusing on things like the top lane, the Camille. Of course, no flash makes her a bit vulnerable, as we will get a pause. It looks like someone disconnected there.
Yeah, it does look like Sai unfortunately disconnected. I mean, it does happen a few issues here. We're going to dive right back to the desk until we have that pause timer done and over with. But overall, across that match there, Illini Blue was slowly working them down. And like you said before, we're looking for those objective bounties across the board to pop in here for USF Gold. That will definitely help them out a lot more. I think we can definitely see some more pressure from that Graves, personally, to do some solid split pushing and get that gold in the pockets of their team members. And I mean, when it comes down to the 5v5 fights, USF Gold still has a strong enough front line to take that one overall.
Very much so. They do have a pretty strong front line. They have the Darius to kind of face tank for them. They have Zillion to provide some speed bonuses with his E and also be able to provide some stuns with the double bomb combo. In addition to the ultimate, Zillion is a very useful champion to have on your team nowadays, especially with a lot of the burst that happens. That revive is going to be pretty useful in team fights, as we should be heading back into the game any second now, as the pause should be sort of wearing off. But just looking at how USF needs to play this out, they either need to force objective fights with 5v5 and just pray that their comp is going to be much better in those scenarios, despite the gold difference, which I believe last time I checked was about 4k, maybe like 3.5-ish. So I'm not sure if that's the route that they want to take, but it is something that is an option for them. The other thing that they could try is just looking for picks. They have a Blitzcrank, they have Zillion. They can look for these options here. And if they were able to get picks before objectives and then make it an uneven fight, they'll be able to do much better in overall collected fights. Of course, Camille is slowly becoming a problem here. Lucidity Boots picked up. I'm not too big of a fan of that, but we'll see how that works out. I would have preferred something like a Ninja Tabis, especially when you're into a Graves Darius Ezreal. I feel like Ninja Tabis would be great in this game, but does opt for the Lucidities, provides them a bit more dueling, a lot more cooldown rotation, so we'll add to their overall damage as Hook landed.
Ooh, Hook's gonna land right on top of Senna there, taking a lot of damage as Blitzcrank is kind of trapped in the middle here. It's going to back off, just chilling. Top of the board right now, a lot of damage overall. Zigzalti's going to do a miss with some flashes overall. Meanwhile, Camille's jumping right into the fight. He's going to take out Dandelion Yi real quick there as the kills are going to get picked up overall. 2 kills over to the side of Illini Blue. 1 kid's going over to Nick, though, as he's able to hop behind the lines and get some solid damage. Going to get picked off overall. Meanwhile, Uzing's going to pick up some extra kills there. Kills are going even now, 3 and 3 across the board here, but it looks like, unfortunately, Uzing is caught alone. Try to take care of that blast plant. It's gonna fall flat. Just Jones gonna pick up that kill, and overall it wins in the favor of Illini Blue. It's gonna be 3-4.
Yeah, very aggressive shift in there from Nick, followed by the flash to finish off the Camille. Does not collect the bounty, I don't think, because they were only 1 and 2, but overall very well played from Illini Blue. They caught out the Rift Herald attempt from USF, and it kind of feels a bit weird. They were trying to group with the Graves, but the Graves has Hullbreaker. They didn't have any other items at that point, so it kind of loses a lot of value. It loses a lot of dueling potential, and they ended up getting caught. Unfortunately for them, Wuxing was able to turn it around and collect 2 kills there on his own on the backside, so was able to do that quite nice. Actually, I think it was only 1 kill, and then there was a burn down somewhere, but regardless, was able to trade back a few kills, and overall it wasn't the worst considering the state of the game that USF is in, as Hook goes wide.
Yeah, Hook's gonna be looked there from Inzania. Not gonna land quite overall. Little chunks of damage here and there as we had 3 members trying to force down and most likely drop that rift to just add some more pressure here as Drake is up. Hook's gonna land though right on top of Mythic's, gonna get blown out of the water. Meanwhile, Psy's popping around the corner alone, unfortunately, is not going to be looking too hot. We have some members across the board. Zigzalti's going to land on the side as Zania is going to fall pretty quickly here. A lot of damage. Zania is going to be taken out there overall. A lot of Zalti's going to get dropped on the board. Double kills crossing over. Kills are still going even 2 and 2. Shutdown gold. We did take care of that Silas shutdown. Uzing is currently on the runs, trying to dodge around there. Is going to get taken out by Ni. Meanwhile, we do have Camille trying to go through. Chen's going to step right into that one. And this Camille is unstoppable, surviving a 2v1 scenario. Chen's going to get out alive, but at the cost of their entire team and this Drake.
Yeah, they did so well there on USF. They got the pick onto the Senna before the fight even started, but then it looked like their positioning kind of was falling apart a little bit before they could recollect themselves after the pick. Silas came in a bit too early, and then they got flanked from both sides, and it ended up still being okay for them, considering that they are behind, but overall, Illini Blue still winning out on that. They have now on Soul Point, 18 minutes into the game. They are set for one of the fastest timers that you can get a Soul, which I believe is 23 minutes into the game, and they'll be looking to try and finish this out. Of course, still relatively okay gold lead. It's only 5k. Objective bounties are setting in. I believe they set in a while ago, but if USF are able to collect that, there are still towers up and available. There's, of course, still a 700 gold bounty on this Nunu, who has yet to die. 8-0-8 on the champion, doing really well, just chilling, showing off how potent this champion can be when he's piloted correctly. And of course, the Camille. We saw her in last fight be quite a menace, and she will demonstrate that through her own 300 gold bounty herself.
It's looking pretty strong. We do have Graves in the bot lane right now, trying to look for the split push. Camille's going to pop there. Mid lane is currently in top lane, trying to do their own duking deals there. Sai trying to shove into that tower as much as possible, as there's still only 1 tower missing on the board, despite how many kills are on the board. Quite the bloody game. Meanwhile, 3 members each in the mid lane, a 1-3-1 strat going over around. We do have Dandelion Yi hovering in the jungle, clearing out his farm, and overall trying to do really well. Ooh, Camille has the wise eye to look inside the middle bushes. Wuxing is not going to be looking pretty well this match. Gonna get taken out quite quickly by Camille there. Rampage on the board and some extra gold in their back pocket.
Yeah, we mentioned how strong. Oh, never mind.
Dandelion Yi popping over the wall there. Like, we do have the frost coming out, slowing down there, but we do have Master Yi trying to get on top of Dandelion Yi. Stun is going to land overall on top of there. Multiple ultis across the board, along with the Zillion, keeping Yi out of conflict. Meanwhile, Chen's on the run, does not have that defense anymore. Is going to drop the stun. Sai is going to pick them up as well. Snowball looking for Yi, not going to find it, but we do have Blitzcrank in the middle, silencing, trying to do any damage that they can. Going to get picked up by just chilling overall. Dandelion Yi trying to do some extra damage, did enough, but we have Silas ulti coming in with that Zillion proc and is going to keep Mythic alive there. Fight starting off, and it was a good attempt at a start here from USF Gold, but they're not going to find it. In fact, they're going to get 3 of their own members dead on the board. And here comes Shelly and coming down to take down that mid lane tower for our second tower of the game.
Yeah, so many health bars there, dinging so low for Illini Blue, but unfortunately, the one kill that they were able to get was Zillion ulted as it was stolen away by Sion the Silas. Very fitting name, honestly, for this game, but it just looked so unplayable for USF. They did so well. They were able to kite things out so well, but it just did not end up being enough. They were too far behind, and now we are looking at more than a 7k gold leader. It's almost an 8k, actually. And it is going to be quite rough from here on out. Nunu, of course, still has the bounty. One of the champions that almost died last fight, but alas, will not fall.
Yeah, 700 gold bounty, deathless in this game. Quite the menace to behold as well, is able to, run out pretty quickly if some things happen. Members looking around there. And Zany is going to get caught up in the mayhem of trying to save their members. Is going to fall flat. Meanwhile, Camille's going to quickly find Ezreal there taken out as well. Senna ulti coming in for some extra shields on board. Mia is going to take out Nick there as the members of USF Gold are currently on the run. Ulti drop for some distance. It's not going to save him though. Sai's going to pick up that kill as well as Dandelion Yi is currently facing off with 3 members. Chen Chen's in the back as well, trying to hold off some of them here. And he's going to drop us a sad B, which honestly, that's probably how USF Gold's feeling right now.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad B game for them, honestly. That's definitely the current mood that USF Gold has, as they're now going to be looking probably towards a Baron soon at some point. I would be very surprised if Illini does not go towards that objective, as it is the only thing left on the map for them. I say that, but a Soul will be spawning in a minute, actually, so they would probably prioritize that over it, or they could just look to trade Baron for 1 Dragon, as it is definitely a worth trade. Of course, the objective bounty going over is not necessarily in their favor, but it's an option that they can do if they so desire. The pushing power and just the raw stat line that a Baron can give them in terms of overall combat stats, more AD, more AP, Baroning up minion waves can be so detrimental, and it can finally be the push that they need to crack open the base. So we'll see what they decide to go to. With the way that they're positioning right now, though, it looks like it'll just be the Soul setup, as might get caught out here.
Yeah, 3 members diving in. Here comes Zania, wicked fast speeds. Whole team's actually trying to take out Camille here, as the Drake is going to be spawning here shortly. Camille's going to get taken out here. Finally, some shutdown gold 400 straight over to Ezreal's back pocket. And with that, the entirety USF Gold's going to be looking for that Baron, but they were hoping that Illini Blue is actually going to be starting on that Drake soon. But here comes the rest of the team looking for a fight. Not feeling too hot there. A lot of members going low. They're desperately trying to clear this out as fast as they can. Instead, they're just softening off their members. They're going to back off that Baron, knowing a fight could be imminent. And it looks like they're just going to back out of here.
Yeah, keep in mind, Dandelion Yi has built pretty much all magic resist there. He does no armor and therefore cannot really tank this Baron up properly. And it will end up being quite a burden to try and deal with that, as now the Soul is pretty much free for Illini Blue. I expect that to be completely bursted down beforehand. It's a Nunu, there's a Senna. I expect it to be gone pretty fast.
Yeah, Ziggs is there too. I mean, there's no more Drake. Drake was gone before the team could even get there to begin with. Mountain Soul in the back pocket of Illini Blue, which is just going to make them be even tankier, even harder to kill with those extra shields on them. And now we have Elder Drake coming up in just about 540 here. And I mean, it slowly but surely here, USF Gold's just being deconstructed. It started minimal at first, but now no towers, no Drakes, and under just about almost 10k. We're stacking, I think, about 9.5 right now. Actually, just 9k flat. USF has fallen pretty flat here. What could they look for here, Graham, to try to come back?
Well, there's honestly not really much to look for. They need to catch someone on the sideline. That is the first step that they can ever look towards if they want to come back in this game. They need to collect one of these bounties, preferably the Nunu. Of course, that is the largest one, but the more realistic one would be something like the Silas. He does sustain a lot, but he is much squishier and is probably much more killable at this point in the game. So that is the first beginning of it. They could, of course, try to catch the Camille like they did before, and then look to try and transition that into an objective or maybe another pick, and they have to rely on that type of guerrilla warfare. But instead, I feel like if they try to do anything with only vision on one member, they're going to get collapsed on, and it could end up being even more of a disaster than it already would be.
Yeah, it does look like USF Gold's currently trying to get anywhere near that Baron, but I mean, it's just bait for Illini Blue. Dandelion Yi taking a lot of damage. Ezreal will do its own damage, but it's not going to work out overall. Meanwhile, bot side, it's a 2v1, but it really doesn't seem like much of an issue for that Camille. Dropping right on a Zoo Swing. It's going to be actually finding quite a stun up here. A lot of damage on top of their heads going to bounce out, but I mean, it's enough to keep 2 members of USF Gold away from a possible team fight, and that Baron is slowly going to get chunked out here.
Yeah, Baron's going to go down. 2 people on the bot side trying to defend against the Camille. Not that that's the wrong play, because you do need 2 people as
Oh
Zania.
no. Oh no, poor Sai's going to get is going to find out, and Zania here is going to take them down. Fortunately, Ezreal's a bit preoccupied, not going to get that ulti out, and there goes the Baron. There goes another chance at a bounty here for USF Gold. And now all that's really left here for the side of Illini Blue is to just start shoving into the base. Stop playing with your food. Go ahead and finish your meal.
Yeah, this will be another inner tower that they take, this time in mid lane, so it'll be more centralized. But Camille on the bot side of the map, as Dandelion might end up dying again.
Ooh, there's the Zillion ulti just in time, but still, that's 4 members caught up and around. It's gonna get chewed out. Not even a need for just Chilling's ulti there. A lot of damage on 1 member off the board. Camille is slowly but surely breaking into the base down in the bot lane. Hook's gonna land on top of Mythic. That Ziggs ulti's gonna take them out. Does look like Camille's in the base, gonna drop the ulti on top of Nick there. Is gonna quickly chew them out, and Zania is forced to back off. 1 by 1, the members of USF Gold are falling. They're in the base. Zing is trying their best to get back to the base. Is able to get a shutdown finally onto that Camille, but it's all too late as their life is going to be taken for it. Last member alive is Zillion, and it looks all but too real. Illini Blue is going to take round 1 here.
Yeah, so it's all but over as they're going to put the last damage into this Nexus. And it just looks like that USF, after a certain period of time, they just didn't look like they knew how to pilot around this Zillion. Honestly, a lot of these champions they are very comfortable on, but the Camille got out of hand, and there wasn't really anything else that they could compensate for. The Ezreal was doing fine, but as the game got later and later, their lead got less. Their lead got more and more on the side of Illini Blue, and it became pretty hard for USF to try and even find any way back into the game, even with good picks like we saw at, I believe, the 3rd Dragon, where the hook on the Senna got over. It was a 4v5, pretty much scot-free, and they still were unable to win fights there. And it just seemed like they weren't comfortable running this type of style where your mid laner is on some type of supportive champion instead of a damage threat that he normally is on. Things like the Auction, the Vladimir, where he can actually be impactful in the game.
Yeah, but with that, we're going to be ending off round 1 here. So we're going to set up for round 2. We're going to take a quick short break overall. Will Illini Blue take it all in round 2 just to take out this best of 3 overall? Or will USF Gold find their rhythm once again and take us to game 3? We'll see you guys in just a short moment here. And welcome back, GG Leagues fans, back to the first day of our Winter 2022 split here in Division A. In round one, in case you missed it, Illini Blue slowly but surely deconstructed USF Gold, and it's bringing us to straight round two. Now we're trying to see if USF Gold can learn from their mistakes and come back, or if Illini Blue is just going to pull their mind games again. Graham, what are we expecting for this match here for USF Gold? What are they looking to recontextualize here, possibly?
Well, it looks like we won't have to wait too long as we'll be jumping straight into draft in terms of champion picks, but I don't really want to see Chenchin on the Zillion. It is a good pick overall, but I don't think it necessarily fits his style of play. I think he's much better as a sort of carries player and being able to get supported by his own team, but we'll see the Master Yi ban remake the table. Of course, never going to let that happen. That's not going to be picked anytime soon, but I'm very interested to see if USF Gold is going to stick with their bans. So far, they will. The Tryndamere is going to be not falling through, understandably so. The champion can be very frustrating to deal with at times. The Jinx, of course, is going to stay on that ban table, will not let Nick have that hyper carry champion, and it'll be interesting to see if they keep the Fiora ban. There we go. So it looks like they won't be changing up too much here. I wonder if they'll swap out their last ban for the Zillion and make sure that they can get something that's a bit more their speed, or if they're going to stick with the same bans. Vex, of course, is going to meet the table, and Illini Blue, thinking nothing wrong with that, as Zillion will be hovered here and should be the lock-in for the ban, hopefully, and it will be. So looks like they do kind of a mid laner on a more carry style champion, as Nunu will be insta-locked here.
It worked so well last time for Illini Blue, top of the board,
Ooh.
deathless for the entire match. And so it felt pretty good for Nunu there. Is going to be picked up. Ziggs getting hovered here by USF Gold's going to get picked up in the end. Solid mid lane overall, extremely strong right now in the meta as well. And we saw last game as well, as it was being played by me in the mid lane. Or Sai. No, Sai was not.
No, it was
Sai
a
was
bot
playing
lane,
out.
actually.
Right, yeah, no, it was ADC pick. I keep forgetting that's such a strange thing, but it worked out really well last time overall, and so they're going to nab that one from Illini Blue's playbook. Camille's going to get picked up there as well. Worked really well in the top lane, unstoppable overall. Vigar's going to get hovered here for possible ADC mid lane flex, and looks like it's going to get pulled out as well. Vigar, really strong across the board, always is, especially with that ulti and that damage. Jarvan 4 picked up for USF Gold, and they're going to be hovering their last pick here of a Jax, possibly in the top lane.
Very interesting indeed. Jax, of course, is one of the few champions that does do well into Camille, but it looks like we will not actually have the luxury of seeing what's being logged in here. If this Aphelios gets locked in, it will be interesting, but it isn't Jax instead. And my personal prediction is that it's going to be the Yordle versus Yordle bot lane, the Ziggs versus the Veigar, as Nick is a very, very competent Ziggs player in his own right. And it's my belief that USF Gold is going to be looking towards an auction, as never mind, it will be banned away from USF in this round. So clearly they have the same read as me, as the Syndra Yuumi will be meeting the ban table. Clearly they do not want those champions to go through, as looking towards it. Wonder what this last ban is going to be, and it looks like they do not want the Blitzcrank, and Zania had a bit too many good hooks in that game that let them get some picks where they needed to, and so they do not want to recreate that. Leona, of course, being the next natural selection when it comes to those types of supports, and it will probably be locked in here.
Yeah, USF Gold looking for what the Leona, however, very engage heavy just team overall. You have that Ziggs in the backline doing tons of damage. Meanwhile, J4, Jackson, Leona going straight into the middle of combat. leaving everybody in the dust. Trundle to be
Ooh.
hovered here by Illini Blue. A solid pick overall. It's a bit of a question mark of where they would go. Possibly in the mid lane there, leading to a bit of trouble. Or hell, they might even bring back the Trundle support that was a thing a few patches, or not this season at least, a few seasons ago.
Is
Be there, but
this?
Bard hover overall for Illini Blue. Might be going in with that Vigar there. Be quite interesting if they end up picking it out here.
I would be kind of thoroughly confused. I'm going to be quite honest. My guess is that it would be, of course, the Camille top, probably a Trundle jungle, and then I'd say a Nunu mid, and then it would have to be a Veigar Bard bot lane. As instead, it will be the Orianna. So it will be a Trundle support, most likely. We don't quite know where anything's going yet, but an Akali would be an interesting pick. I don't think Chen Chen plays it that much, so that might just be a hover. I also don't really like it into that team comp overall. I think it's a bit icky to try and play. Diana can also work. I think it's along the same vein, though, and Galio, maybe. I don't know if I like that, though.
Yeah, it looks like they're just kind of rolling through their
Yeah,
options here. Victor is
okay.
going to get locked in overall. Victor, very strong in the mid lane. Low levels, I know for sure. But I've been playing a lot more Victor there, but lots of damage there, lining up with that Ziggs quite well. Looks like we have a mage-filled bot lane there. Trundle support coming out there to help that Camille, especially later on, with some extra pillars for some more mobility across the field with those E's. And overall, both these teams are pretty scary overall. USF has a bit more engage heavy comp, and Illini Blue once again with just a solid all-around comp. What are your thoughts here, Graham?
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting for Illini Blue to play their composition. They managed to pull off something like this previously where it seemed to be very awkward to try and play, but if they're able to pull that comp off, I believe this comp is much easier to do. The Orianna is much more reliable CC, and they have engaged to do it. The Nunu Camille are very good gap closers, and they're able to kind of roll in. Veigar provides very stable bot lane scaling, and the Trundle, first of all, the pillar being able to cancel out the Zenith Blade dash from the Leona will not cancel out the root, but canceling out the dash and the follow-up CC is always a good option, in addition to the subjugation, which allows the Leona to be less tanky overall. But looking at USF Gold's team composition, it's very, very engage heavy. They have the Jarvan Leona, and they have a very solid backline with Ziggs Victor. And it's actually a very interesting composition because the Jax wants to dive in with the Jarvan and the Leona, but the Victor can play a bit more mid-rangey while the Ziggs is sort of sitting back and having artillery. So if USF play this out as a strict 5v5, I think they are favored. However, if they're playing it in a more skirmish-heavy way, like we saw in Game 1, I think Illini Blue is going to have the upper hand in that case.
Yes, and it does not look like we have a lot of strong in the way of split pushing as we did before. No Graves in that top lane, as Jax will take that role to at least duel out that Camille to stop that steamroll from happening, or at least attempt. We do have Ziggs overall, though, who could do a lot of damage to those towers and could be looking for a lot more split pushing possibilities, though I don't think we'll see it, as we didn't really see it much last match either. Though, you know, Illini Blue's team, that Camille's really strong from before. If that Nunu's left allowed to roam and gain up kills here, quite terrifying as well. But it looks like we have a 5-man start in the top lane, as they might be trying to look for Nunu or possibly that Camille overall.
They will be looking for something here. I'm not quite sure, as they will just end up resetting. Maybe they'll drop a ward in that middle bush up top lane. Either way, taking a quick glance at runes and summoner spells, there are a bit of interesting options here. For one, the Orianna did take Phase Rush. It's not necessarily something that's super crazy, but usually nowadays she prefers more lane-heavy runes, something like an Aerie that allows her to trade better as well as provide some more utility to her team. Other than that, it's the Electrocute Veigar. There will not be poke. It's going to be full burst damage. I'm not too sold on it. Usually by the time that extra burst matters, you're going to be one-shotting them anyway, so that rune kind of loses about a bit of value. First Glacial Augment onto the Trundle is pretty common for a support Trundle, that pillar being so good at applying it. And other than that, nothing too crazy here. There's First Strike on Victor, and that's about it.
Yeah, Sai going for a little bit of chip damage earlier on to Chen Chen here. Orianna, not exactly much of a fighter earlier on, not going to do a lot of damage, heavy trades, as that Silas was last game, winning for level 3 there. Well, early clears, no funny business across the board. We like to see it, though, you know, when we have that funny business, a bit more action happening there. Meanwhile, Chen Chen is going to take that first strike, which is pretty solid. Wu is going to be going for a stun there, just to annoy that Camille just a bit more. But Camille, once again, just doing a good chunk of damage earlier on here. Jack's going to do their own trade back, even all. And I mean, once again, it's a very slow start with some pretty heavy pokes. No level 2s yet.
Yeah, and actually I didn't quite notice it because it's been stand up. Never mind.
Ooh, never mind. We do have Camille finally landing level 2. Is going to drop the Ignite, forcing Flash there from Jax. Get it back off. Meanwhile, mid lane both at level 2 as well. Chen getting some solid damage off on Sai here, but likewise some good trades back from Sai as well. It does look like this USF team is feeling a bit more feisty and is feeling a little bit more confident, especially in that mid lane.
For sure. Now, Victor can win out on those trades due to the fact that he does have a very solid shield early on in his Q, the Siphon Power, allowing him to trade fairly evenly. And we'll see a gank here, actually.
Ooh, you diving straight in, forcing the flash out there. No stuns just yet, but it was a good attempt from Yi, getting that flash and doing a good chunk of damage. Top lane's getting shoved in there by the Camille's. Going to be pretty rough for Jax overall. It does not look like they're going to have a very fun time until later on, most likely with some extra support from their jungler. But I mean, overall, it's pretty slow going, kind of as it was before, but last time we did have some crazy fights happening in the jungle there.
Yeah, I'm kind of going to wait a little bit because I thought there was going to be something for top lane. Never mind. The Camille will just back off and take the reset. She does still have TP, and overall, early game is going pretty evenly so far. There's Summoner Spell burned in mid lane. Of course, top lane looking a little rough. He lost track of when that Camille is hitting 2, of course. For solo lanes, it's going to be the full wave plus an extra melee minion to hit level 2. It's always been like that, and it probably will always be like that. So, kind of lost track of that count when he tried to trade on and got punished for it, as we'll see Dandelion kind of make his way over here. There's no ward in that tri-bush, but with the way that the Leona is walking, it's a bit obvious.
Yeah, a good chunk of pings coming around here, some question marks, and try. They don't have any eyes yet, and Yi not going to take any chances here. He's going to back off just to stay safe. Doesn't really want to waste too much time down in that bot side. And I mean, it's some pretty solid awareness overall from Illini Blue. They could see the movements happening there, and like, we don't have any vision up and try. I think something funky's going on here, so playing it safe overall. Meanwhile, mid and top lane, just a lot of trades overall. Camille still forcing back this Jax despite, you know, doing a lot of damage overall. Trades going over here. Jax falling quite low. Is going to be forced to jump around. We do have Yi coming up around the corner.
No E.
And Yi looking for some action. It's going to land the E overall.
Nice. First
blood going over to Jax with that jump there.
Yeah, it's actually super critical that they gave that kill over to the Jax. It makes his laning so much better into the as actually.
Ooh, a lot of damage, forcing flash there.
Wait.
But meanwhile, here comes Zania. Is going to land the E. Root's going to happen there. Once again, it does look like Illini is pushing their advantage a little bit too far here. And USF Gold, instead of trying to be super active there, is going to take a step back, breathe, and they're going to look around here for some any little bits of action, trying to pick up on the mistakes here of the enemy team.
Yeah, very good catch there from Zania on the Leona. Quick roam up, collect the kill, gives it over to the Victor. Again, very key. Allows him to get the lost chapter on his first back, and that is absolutely huge. It is 5.5 minutes into the game. He's going to be able to shove out those waves quite fast, as we're going to see bot lane get shoved in. They'll probably take a reset or just head straight to the dragon, whichever one is what they so desire, as they kind of have free reign over the bot side of the map now. And it's going to be a Sheen versus a Sheen up in the top lane. Of course, the kill on the side of USF does warrant the extra longsword for Jax's efforts. That being said, he is still down quite a bit of CS, and that gold difference is actually more than enough to make up for that kill. Of course, it was first blood, so it's a little bit more, but point still stands. Oh.
Ooh, ulti's going to land there as level 6 is picked up by Camille, doing some solid damage. Not going to be able to use the ulti to its full extent, as Jax is able to get under the tower there. But again, huge damage. Trade is looking to dive on a Ignite Tower. It's going to burn the Ignite. Sad B on top of Jax's corpse. And that's an extra kill going over to Illini Blue.
Yeah, that's going to be super bad for Wuxing. Oh, as Shockwave goes through, it looks like there'll be kill pressure here.
Ooh, solid damage here. Comes Mythic, but we do have Zania as well. Supports on the board, just chilling, waiting around the corner here, trying to help out their team. That pillar was just enough to force off the enemy members here, and looks like they're not going to be looking too much for a fight.
Yeah, going back to the top lane situation, though, that entire wave will be missed by the Jax, and will unfortunately not be able to collect the majority of it, and I believe Camille probably got a plate with the Sheen able to do so much, and with just like that, the Camille is well ahead of this Jax, and of course the gold lead is still in favor of USF. There's much more gold in terms of the mid lane as well as the bot lane, but my god, the Camille is going to be quite problematic later on.
And once again, Camille getting lots of easy access to go ahead and just apply pressure to that top side. You have just chilling waiting around in the mid lane here. Victor starting to do a good chunk more damage there as well. Both got a jungle and a support waiting around the corner here as Drake is going to be taken early here, at least looked at early here. Ooh, he's going to land from Zania looking around the corner. There's Nick's ulti dropping in from nowhere, picking up an extra kill on top of that Orianna. Meanwhile, Zania is kind of trapped in the corner here. Bot lane's popping up. Some extra kills going straight over, along with a Drake over the side of Illini Blue. Is they're going to be kind of catch off Nick here, who's diving a little bit too head first. Able to pop over the wall, but I mean, like, kill for kill trade, but with the Drake grab, that gold difference is going to be looking a bit more even on the board.
Absolutely, it's going to be a bit more even than what it displays. The Hextech Dragon, in my personal opinion, is one of the better ones to have a single one, just because the stats it gives, the attack speed and the ability haste are so useful. Just pretty much on every single champion you can imagine, and so I think they'll be happy with that trade. 1 kill for 1 kill plus the dragon. It's going to be more than enough for them as the bait.
Ooh. Yeah, the bait is going to pop out early there. Ulti's going to force out J4, though, to try to get that early kill. He's not going to find it. And Zania coming up as well for some early action. He's going to fall flat there. It was a good attempt from Camille. Very solid use of the ulti there, and honestly got 2 members super low. And Zania popping up just traded that over a bit more. But members are starting to look up top lane here. We might see some action happen a bit later.
Yeah, I mean, USF committing so much up to this top side to make sure that the Camille doesn't be a problem. Still going to be quite fed. I believe she is still ahead of the Jax in terms of gold, but it will be... The blow is definitely lessened now that they're able to crash the wave, making sure she misses a few things. And overall, I think USF will be content with how they're playing out this early game so far. It is much better than game 1. That much can be said, and I think they'll take it. This Rift Herald going over to the side of Illini Blue, though, will be pretty bad for USF, as Zania might get caught.
Zania playing a little bit too forward there, trying to get some extra provisions, going to back off into their jungle, as Illini Blue does not have any vision there, as well as going to be looking mid lane instead for some action as well. Does look like Just Chilling's going for a lot more action in the jungle and is helping a lot more. Meanwhile, Sai facing some danger. Ulti's getting dropped across the board for that mid lane. Meanwhile, Mythic popping across the board, dealing a good chunk of damage onto that jungler. Does not have the extra damage support, as they are only building support items. Gonna force off those kills there, and nobody's gonna fall in the mid lane.
Yeah, I wanna be a little bit careful here, as
Snowball's gonna miss. Just Chilling, taking a huge chunk of damage there from Jax.
and
members are just gonna, they're just gonna back off, drop a rift, and they're gonna force Jax off this tower. And looks like first tower once again going over to Illini Blue.
Yeah, and that will definitely put a dent into that 1k gold lead, if not completely eliminate it, as there we go, it's gonna be completely gone. Of course, Orianna.
Four sides facing the Wrath here of Dandelion. Gonna take some solid damage. Meanwhile, Chen Chen's gonna pick that one up.
We're gonna keep going on this Rift Herald though, so we'll potentially get this second tower, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do, because that's a lot of damage from the chunk, and they will end up backing off to begin with.
There's no reason to keep pushing, as they don't have any vision across the top lane there. Unfortunately for Illini Blue, their mid lane is falling a bit flat. We did have Silas helping a lot earlier with that, stealing that Zillion ulti. Orianna is just not having a good time in the Victor, though I think that ulti will definitely help out a lot later. USF feeling a lot more confident overall, still holding a little bit of a gold lead there in their own back pockets. But I mean, once again, Just Chillin' is honestly just a stronger micro control here compared to macro. They are going for all these objectives. They definitely have these all on lockdown. Early Drake, early Rift, early Tower, and it's just really working out in their favor here.
Yeah, Mythic gonna be showing up quite a bit in this mid lane. Of course, Zania in the same boat as him, so it'll be more like it's a 2v2 mid than it is a 2v2 bot lane, as the Ziggs and Vegark are kind of unaware of what's really happening around the rest of the map. It's the exact opposite problem, actually. Usually it's top lane that has no clue what's going on, but seems to be inverted this game.
Slightly so. Business getting cleaned out there. In fact, looking vision across the board, not much for either team, actually. Rivers are pretty much bare and empty. Nobody's really looking around. They're more or less playing pretty safe and using their own passive vision to be able to see there.
Yeah, we'll be able
Not a
to.
lot of action here.
No, they're playing this game much more reserved. Last time at this point in the game, there's about as many kills as there were minutes, honestly, if I'm remembering the game correctly. Right now, it's pretty stable. Of course, 7 kills in 12 minutes is a lot by most professional standards, but though it's definitely a slower paced game than previously mentioned, as this next dragon is spawning in 15 seconds, so we'll probably see a fight around that if USF decide to try and extend their lead further, as it is not nearly enough at the current state to call it a 1 game.
Yeah, meanwhile, Illini Blue currently has control over the pit, though they are currently surrounded here by members of USF. Top lane still keeping up their duels there. Solid chunk of damage from Camille overall. It's going to keep that Jax on the defensive. Meanwhile, sides have shifted there. It's a 4v4 currently in the pit, and it does look like USF first dragon of this best of 3. Well, they're going to take that one overall without much muss or fuss coming from the enemy team.
Yeah, we'll end up claiming that, as Camille will claim the tower here.
Ooh, dropping the ulti to avoid that pick there. It's not going to find it, as Jax is able to play over the tower corpse there.
Yeah, he will have to back up. The Camille has finished her Divine Sunderer well. Jax is still at components. He does have Ninja Tabis, so he kind of have to stop off at that so he could live through the Camille harassment. But so far, it's looking pretty one-sided in the top lane, but everywhere else on the map, USF is winning out. And of course, the gold lead during that time has shifted in the favor of Illini Blue, but considering that it is 1-to-1 in Dragons, you have to imagine that it's not too bad. The gold is, of course, more spread out along the side of USF, and it's more accumulated on the side of Illini Blue towards that top side, so you have to take what you can get if you're either side. Of course, Illini, that means that you need to play around this Camille, and you need to protect it like it is your life, because it quite literally is. And USF is at much more of a leisure to play around multiple members of their team, and they can use certain figures in order to express that. Things like the Victor, of course, are going to be more ahead than others, but this Ziggs is also sitting at a very nice breakpoint. The Jarvan is not weak by any means, so they have options.
Ooh, trying to go for a bit of a flank there. Sai's unfortunately going to fall flat thanks to the ulti. Multiple TPs coming in as they have been unlocked, and the chaos is starting now just after tower plating has fallen. Ulti's getting dropped into the mix there, but we do have Nunu ulti doing some solid damage there to Chen Chen, is forcing flashes from other members. USF, while they feel so confident overall, getting an extra kill in their back pocket, are the ones forced to back off here. They just don't have the raw pushback coming from that's coming from Illini Blue. They have damage on their own. They have a lot of picks, but overall, it just seems like Illini Blue just has a better strategy and a better mindset overall.
Yeah, they did end up getting a lot more chunk out. Of course, the Camille Q2 pretty much taking out Inzania completely, despite being one of the tankier members on the team. And it looks pretty rough for them to try and deal with that Camille right now. They did end up getting the kill trade, and nothing much came out of it, so they'll still be happy with that exchange, but you're right to worry about the fact that even though they won that exchange, it didn't look that good.
Yeah, a lot of ultis out of the board, a lot of flashes as well. Do have Ziggs ulti still winning around in case anyone from USF wants to pull some crazy moves here or there. Mythic testing their luck just a little bit here, trying to hunt down the support, trying to go for that 1v1, because overall I do think that Trundle will win that support duel happening there.
Yeah, I'd be willing to say that as well.
We do have Camille shifting into the bot lane, though, after taking down top. Jax coming in to try to counter, not really going to find much instead. They're just going to start roaming up. As we do have Drake under 2 minutes here. We do have Baron falling away soon, but we do have, I think, our second Rift looking like a possibility here soon.
Very much so. Second Rift Herald, of course, is much weaker than the first Rift Herald, but being able to get that to pressure any tower is always something that teams will love to get, especially as it comes time for another dragon in a minute 30. So being able to use that in order to pressure a lane just for free by placing it down and then running to dragon is something that you can never really disvalue. And Illini Blue having that second Rift Herald for themselves will mean that they can probably just drop it mid and it's either you lose your mid tower or you lose the dragon, and that's something that they'll be happy to force.
Ooh, solid damage coming out from Camille. Over half health. Oh my god. Chunking out the Jax there. We do have both junglers waiting around the walls, looking for something funky to go on here. This is most likely going to be a start of a fight coming over. Dandelion doing some damage to that tower. Looking at top of Jax, forcing in a TP. Multiple members coming in for a Camille alone. Other TPs getting forced in as well.
That's Orianna.
Trying to go. Ooh, Orianna ulti dropping as well, forcing some members in the middle. A lot of damage there overall. Good combos.
Ooh,
They stay out. Zig's ulti's gonna go wide, get a dodge past the other members. Sai is on the run, doing some solid damage. Ooh, Ni is able to get a trade back kill. But overall, just the coordination only blue. I think they're going back in here. No, not gonna find it.
Yeah, very peculiar there. They won out on the trade, and it did look pretty well off. I mean, Wuxing was chunked out a little bit, but the rest of the members were going strong. The Orianna teleport straight under tower was a bit too aggressive, but in the end, it's Zania who was doing too much and ended up getting ulted by the Veigar after getting caught out by too much poke damage for what the situation was.
Yeah, and I mean, like, despite being down on kills here overall, only blue, once again, just with that solid micro control, getting all these objectives, have kept that gold bounty in their favor now overall, and have just been forcing back. They keep up in damage despite being down on these kills. Meanwhile, just chilling, getting forced out. They're dropping an ulti, a lot of damage. Sai getting a double kill overall. 3 kills going over the side of Illini blue. Look at those combos. Look at that coordination. They're going to take this Drake without a hesitation or a problem at all.
That was a very big misplay from Chen Chen there. Stepping up when you see the Nunu actively charging up the snowball, and in the end, he is one of the biggest damage threats. Now the ult will go wide as Camille will just clean this up.
Oh my goodness.
This guy's
Camille's
dead
just
too.
diving in as Uremba is just hunting down the members of USF. He's going to land. Nick is in a bit of trouble there. Nowhere to run. It's a unofficial ace on the board as a double kill is going to be going over to that Camille in their back pocket along with a Drake. And Illini blue is back despite some mishaps in the early game.
Yeah, very, very poor positioning there from Chen Chen and Wuxing, trying to get on the flank, but they didn't really see the Nunu snowball. It was kind of peculiar there. I wonder if they actually had vision of that or if that was a bit too late for them. Either way, the Victor getting caught out was huge, and then the 3-man Orianna shockwave. It doesn't matter how much you camp this Orianna. If she can land shockwaves like that, she'll still have her uses, and it was demonstrated right there.
That's a lot of damage there. Illini blue has that gold difference back in their pockets. A little over 2k here, looking around for 3k to pop up eventually here. But I mean, overall, Illini blue has the Drake lead as well, as we do actually have Hextech actually, Mountain Soul once again back on the board. I saw the Hextech market. I was hoping we'd get Hextech Soul once again.
No portals.
No portals, no fun impromptu static Shiv. I miss you, static. Rest in peace. Getting that mid tower, 3 towers in their back pocket. USF still have no towers left to their name. And I mean, overall, it's bot lanes left alone for Camille's devices slowly chew that one out. And USF, once again, is just slowly but surely having their world just kind of slowly be crunched in on them.
Very true. They do have a bit more leeway than last game, though, so they should be a bit more happy with that. And this time, when they look to play out these fights, make sure that they are positioning properly, because without protecting this Victor, they won't have any damage. As the Nunu catch.
Ooh, Nunu overstepping their bounds there, not really expecting the members are going to get taken down. No gold bounty on their head, but I mean, it's going to feel pretty nice in their back pocket. Take off that member who was such a just devious mind last game.
Ooh.
Sai's going to try to do some damage there. Going to land quite a big chunk on Chen Chen, but unfortunately just doesn't have the numbers to really hold it off there. Meanwhile, bot side, half health with 1 Q. Does look like this Camille is once again on the board. Yeah. Feeling pretty solid, pretty strong, and it's just going to keep split pushing. Oh my goodness. Through that bot lane. And this Camille and this Nunu working so well together slowly just take everything away from USF Gold.
Absolutely. Part of this game was, okay, you have the Jax. That is a very good Camille answer. Now let's see if you can shut down this Camille. And so far, it has not been working. This Camille is 2 items at 21 minutes. This Jax just finished his first one with the Bork a few backs ago. And it is a 3k gold lead for the Camille, despite the rest of the map actually not looking too in favor of USF. There's a very sizable gold lead for the top laner of Illini Blue, but the only thing that I saw that they had really in exchange was that the Ziggs was 600 gold up on this Veigar. The mid lane was just back to even, and despite the fact that Victor does have 2 complete items over 1 complete item and components for the Orianna, it is still an even gold amount. So it ended up being a neutralization point where, yeah, sure, you have pretty strong carries, but the ones that you put behind are now back, and we still have our monstrous Camille that you can't really deal with.
USF Gold had a lot of control on playing their aggression, waiting for these movements coming out here from Illini Blue, and honestly, I feel like if they once again take a step back, don't initiate the fights, wait for a reaction, try to dive their way, and try to pick off what they can there, I think they could definitely work it out. I mean, overall, Illini Blue doesn't have much way in the way of vision across the board here, compared to USF, who does have a few wards in their own jungle, have a bit control on their own side of the map, but everything's kind of closing in around them. They're not really waiting or looking for these fights. More or less, they're just kind of, if they see people going, they're like, okay, let's all press the go button and dive headfirst into the fight instead of just take a step back, see what's happening here, and if you think you can find a play, a pick on someone, some mistake you can exploit, then do it, and you'll bring that gold difference right back in your own pockets.
Absolutely, but looking at what we're going to be doing on the map now, Dragon's in 30 seconds, so of course, Illini Blue are already set up for that. They already have wards down, they're already occupying that bottom river, and now it's going to be USF's turn to either ignore this and just let it go. It will be soul point for Illini Blue once again, but they can't really contest it with the way they're positioning, but it looks like they will try to anyway. They will get Prio in mid lane first, and it'll be kind of hard because even this Victor is not going to have much more luck challenging this.
Yeah, doing some solid damage overall. It's actually going to be just enough to force back that Camille, not knowing what's around any corner there. Ember's going to be looking around this Drake right now.
Ooh.
A lot of press up, just chilling, backing off. Solid ulti stun's going to land right on the top of that Veigar, who's forced to back out. Meanwhile, just chilling, diving straight in. A shutdown gold from the Veigar landing right there for Dandelion. He is just chilling, able to heal back as well. Meanwhile, while members are being forced off right now, a lot of pings coming out here. Drake is currently being chewed out. Side's going to take out that Jax, leading to a good trade-off there. Meanwhile, the members of UFF are running out of health and are slowly falling down there, just chilling. Forced to run away. It's going to fall flat there from Nick's solid damage. Meanwhile, here comes Camille trying to look for something to get a hold of the stopwatch trick. Another double kill, more trades across the board. Ooh. And overall, it's going in the favor of USF, and they're going to get the full man ace quadra kill going to Zig's back pocket.
Very, very long fight there, and it just came down to the fact that so many members on USF dropped so low, but they never were able to get that final blow. The Ziggs and the Victor being able to kite them out so well, and it just resulted in USF actually coming out on top of that despite being at a pretty sizable gold lead. They still are behind in gold, but it is much more manageable, and this Ziggs picking up that quadra kill means so much for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that threat of soul difference is no longer there, as both teams have two, so Drake is now really what we're going to be looking here for Illini Blue. They're going to just slowly but surely keep deconstructing the members of USF Gold. And like you said before, while that gold difference was pretty massive, they closed the gap a bit, but it's still in the favor of Illini Blues. They were able to get some solid shutdowns from the side of USF. And now that Drake is gone, they're going to be looking a lot more for this Baron. We're going to see a lot more competitions. Mythic just kind of trolling around there with Zania. And overall, I think we're going to see a bit of a reprieve before members are going to start looking for that Baron. We do have 4 minutes until Drake, though, so who knows? Maybe they'll wait that long.
Yeah, the next big objective is this Baron here that it has spawned, but without really a pick, there's no way for either team to try and go for it. Of course, if any team were to just attempt to start it up and try and get the other to respond, it would be Illini Blue, who are still at an advantage. They have the sort of upside of having a Camille that can split push and then TP into a flank angle and be so effective on that back line. But if USF were to get a pick and then start up the Baron, it would be much harder for Illinois to Illini, excuse me, not Illinois. It would be much harder for Illini to actually answer that call because they don't necessarily have good face checking tools if one of their core members, let's say the Camille somehow, were to be missing. It is Illinois blue. Okay, never mind. I got it right accidentally.
You're fine. Tower's going to fall there to the Camille, slowly but surely closing in on USF here, bringing back an extra 600 gold in the pockets of the Illini Blue members. Feeling pretty solid overall. This Camille still, it's a massive threat, up 2 items right now on the board compared to Jax, who only has a Bork to their name. Still no mythic item either.
It is pretty rough. In terms of items, he is not that much better off than the supports. So kind of rough. He will finish his Divine Thunder.
We're all safe now.
We're all good. We're all good. He's become a champion now. We can kind of see it. That being said, though, Camille does finish her Hull Breaker, and good luck. Good luck over there. Do your best and
Lord.
Try to counter that one out. That's a 3-item Camille with the Hull Breaker passive. It's more like 3.5, almost 4. Honestly, that item is extremely good right now, but hopefully the Jax will be able to deal with it in some way. And I mean, does have much better dueling potential now. He is not tanky at all. Keep that in mind. The Camille does have quite a bit of health to her, mostly due to the grasp that she has built, in addition to this Hull Breaker that she has now stacked up. But we will see if the Jax will be able to at least hold his own and clear waves against this Camille, because that is all you can really ask for at this point with him, because the rest of the map can do just fine without him.
Yeah, and it does look like USF are trying to keep vision control around that Baron, especially on their side of the map. So in case that Baron starts getting taken, they have control and they can dive head first if they need to. Meanwhile, the members here of Illini Blue are just kind of spreading out across the board, trying to pull some 1-3-1s, or in this case, a 1-2-1, and there's your Nunu in the jungle, just taking all of the enemy team's farm away from them and trying to keep their own vision control overall. Nyx rotating to the bot side here, trying to help Uzeng fight off this Camille's pressure, and I mean, just that tower is slowly falling down, and I just had a horrifying thought, Graham. I'm trying to imagine this Camille with Baron. I don't want to see that on the board.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's allowed on Twitch either. We might have to cut the stream if it gets to that, but we'll see what happens as an engage on it. Stun does go through and double stun.
Oh, solid damage instead, falling off of the Ziggs there. It's gonna take the shutdown gold, and it's going to be forced back. Lots of stuns. Meanwhile, that cage from Veigar is actually just gonna keep the rest of Illini Blue safe here. Get just chilling out of the way, but I mean, those are 2 big bounties off the gold. Ziggs' gold is going to feel really nice in the pocket of Camille. I did not know who got Camille's kill, but I mean, that's going to feel pretty solid. Meanwhile, Sai trying to do some action down here. Ooh, yeah, trying to go some actions. Actually doing quite a bit of damage there. Starting to walk around. But Chen with the Victor is just too much. Meanwhile, Danlai apparently caught a rock in a hard place. A lot of damage. 3 members. Ooh. Not much survivability there. 2 ultis dropped. Yeah, you're falling flat with that Drake coming up in just a couple seconds here. I don't think USF have much of a chance to take this one back.
No, not with their jungler down. That's a Nunu. You cannot smite that, even with a jungler, let alone without one. So, will end up being a bit unfortunate. He missed his Flag and Drag combo out of there, and Zenia kind of just holding him there. TP from Chen comes in.
Ulti's going to land right back on top. Mythic is going to be forced back, as we do have Jax slowly but chewing out the back members there. Getting some solid picks into their back pocket.
Things going down onto the Baron. I wonder if they can actually end up doing this. Camille is up, Nunu is up, and Orianna will be up in 1 second, and now we'll be able to TP in. That's a very strong 3-member, and with your Jarvan coming up in 1 second, yeah, your 5 members strong. Let's see if they can actually execute on this. It'll be very, very interesting to see how this plays out, if the Camille Orianna can pull this back.
Yeah, some question mark pings on the board. Not really finding much. Snowball going wide. Jack's still quite low, but you do have Camille waiting around. Some wards have been placed. And Orianna's going to land a solid ulti there, so Camille's going to dive headfirst in. Jax is going to be forced off, but they are going to get Nunu overall. Meanwhile, Camille still trying to do some damage in that backline. Is going to be able to pick up a few members. Orianna taking care of Jax. These 2 members might be able to tear up the rest of the team here. Camille's going to step on a lot of those bombs, taking a lot of extra burn damage, stuff they definitely don't need. Ooh, a lot of damage is going to fall flat overall. Meanwhile, Nee is popping around the corner. He's going to get both members trapped inside the cage. Nick is going to fall there to Nee, and Dandelion D is on the run. It was a good attempt, but a good rebound there from the rest of the Illini Blue team.
That was looking so good there for USF, but once again, Chen kind of misclicking there. He walked straight into melee range of the Nunu and the Camille with the Orianna ball on top of it, and just spelled not necessarily death, because he did live for quite some time afterwards, but the fight didn't look too clean afterwards. And even though they're able to pick up some kills, it'll be them losing out in the end, as tower will be picked up in mid lane, and they'll use that to sort of gain tempo on this Baron, as their members will be coming up much faster than the side of USF.
And the Baron push has been stopped. Vision is still kind of lackluster overall across the board right now. But I mean, you have about 3k left into your favor. It's going to be feeling pretty nice, pretty good. You're on soul point. And I mean, Illini Blue has fully deconstructed all the rest of the defenses here for USF. It's feeling like last game, but a lot slower. USF definitely learning a lot more. But again, just the coronation, the early game micro control from Illini Blue is just slowly but surely coming to bite USF Gold. And I mean, it doesn't feel like they're losing. It really doesn't. A lot of these conflicts are able to play smart and they're able to get some extra picks off in the mix. But I mean, what will USF be having to look for now to try to turn this match around?
Well, the first one is making sure that this Camille doesn't get a pick here.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Continue what we were saying. We've seen this before.
yeah, I think that was a replay or something. But either way, what USF really needs to do is make sure that this Baron does not go over at all costs, because as you mentioned before, there's about to be some
Ooh,
go down,
he's gonna
and
land.
he'll be out. Actually, never mind. He'll try to fight this still.
Yeah, well-timed E from the Camille to be able to pull out of that one. It's fortunately trapped in the pit, doing a good chunk of damage.
And
Meanwhile, the
Baron
rest
comes
of Illini Blue, 3 members are down, and Camille is still fighting here. Zeroing out these members here is not going to find it there. It's waiting around. E's going to land it. Camille's able to take down the Leona here. This is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god, a triple kill, a 3v1 for Camille. Able to force the members of UFS Gold to stay off that Baron, and that was a massive misplay there, Graham.
Yeah, that definitely was not a replay. We did not see that one before, but certainly we imagined it as the Baron goes down, and it's hard to imagine that this isn't going to be game over here. There's going to be Dandelion spawning up in 15, and Zania following suit there, so they will probably have to back up here, but collecting these 2 inhibs now with Soul on the rise in 1 minute. Actually, never mind. They're still going.
Yeah, it does not look like Camille wants to let up anytime soon, doing a huge chunk of damage to Nick. Both members falling to knee overall, and this looks like it. It's going to be one messy final finale here as the members of Illini Blue want to pad out their KDA, doing some solid damage. Unstoppable tag right there for Camille. Dandelion Yi, last member's going to be able to kill. It's not going to work out. The Nexus is wide open, and Illini Blue is going to take round 2, rounding us out here.
It's gonna be
eventually,
yeah. They'll take it. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. Illini Blue will end up taking this series 2-0. Very well played from them. They're able to actually close out in a lot of these games. And in the game 1, of course, was pretty one-sided. This one, of course, ended up going a bit later. USF putting fights up for themselves and actually winning out on a lot of the scenarios. But in the end, they didn't have an answer for the Camille. Right, the Camille got too far ahead early on, and that split push, that side lane, became too much for the Jacks to deal with, despite being a favorable matchup. So, in the end, well played to both these teams. USF did do a very good job at adapting to that playstyle in the game 2, and it made it much more contested, and they were actually winning in most scenarios, but when it came down to it, they did not have an answer for the Camille, and it ended up hurting them big time.
Yes, but with that, we're going to be closing out for the night. GG to both teams, and especially to Illini Blue over here for winning that 1-2-0 for our first match of the season. Want to thank you guys so much for tuning in for, again, our first match of the season. We have some more action coming up here on the GG Leagues cast coming over. We have some more wonderful matches coming tomorrow, not of League of Legends. I'm pretty sure we have, I think it's Rocket League tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I think we did have a bit more Rocket League earlier today. But with that, I'd like to thank our sponsors as well. I've been Cosmic Graham. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a great time having you as well. You guys stay safe, stay warm, have a good rest of your night. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday for some more League of Legends action. Stay safe.